This is the ID.4 headlight. We are going to talk about each of this individual component and explain what it does when you're driving.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to the VW ID Talk podcast. We are your hosts, Wes and Jan, aka Johnny4 Electric on the forums. I'm Waldo22. You can catch us on anywhere that you can get audio podcasts, including Spotify and your Apple Podcast platform. And today, Jan is so excited. He's bouncing up and down because he spent a lot of time taking apart a VW Matrix headlight, aka the advanced LED headlights from the ID.4. Jan, tell us what you did.
Yeah, thank you. I actually dissected the ID.4 headlight in this case. And of course, it's not my headlight.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Exactly, because the process is actually cannot be reverted. You have to cut it open. Oh. It's not welded through some beautiful style of adhesive. Okay. It is just permanently welded. So unfortunately, I had to get my tools and beautifully cut it all around to get to the insides.
And this was a headlight that was broken, or you got it on eBay, or what did you?
Yeah, I got it on eBay, and there were a few things broken. And unfortunately, the headlight itself didn't work. At least we have the full setup here, and I am so excited how high tech this is. Right, this is just incredible. So.
Well, I'm also happy that you didn't have to sacrifice a working headlight.
Oh man,
of course, heartbreaking.
That would have been heartbreaking. Yeah.
So what we're looking at here, you made slides showing us the two different types. So on the regular ID.4 standard, on the left there, that's what you get, right? Just regular LED headlights. And then here, how is this different? We did this on our Mastering Your Headlights podcast.
Yep.
On the right here, we have the Matrix headlight. You can see the eyeballs in there. It looks like eyeballs. They're adaptive. They can move left and right, follow you around curves. They have the daytime running lights built in. You can see kind of around the top. And in Europe, they have what they call the Matrix functionality, which we're going to show everybody here.
So what you see inside is a beautiful harness. And normally you don't see this harness. The harness is connected to a controller unit that you see actually from the outside. Actually, the back of the controller unit is visible from your front space.
Under your hood, under your bonnet, you can see this heat sink. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. And it exactly as you said, it's very smartly done. It's there was a lot of heat conducting caulk that I've removed, but you can see that this unit has a number of interesting power parts. So these are the switches, these are the controllers, this is the power electronic, and the brains is here on the bottom. So this is the brain for each headlight. Like each headlight has this type of PCB, and this PCB communicates with your car through the CAN bus.
So that little ASIC surface mounted chip would have the firmware and the parameter files for what features the headlight. Okay, all that stuff lives on that chip.
Exactly. So maybe you can whisper to this piece, please turn on the Matrix functionality. That's all needs to.
All right. I'll try that when we're done with the recording.
And then on the outside, there is this connector that is relatively simple. So there is power and CAN bus, and all these connectors kind of power the inside bits and pieces. And we'll get to those bits and pieces. But what I was really amazed how this is designed like a Lego, because this is the same headlight or high headlight that is on ID.3, potentially ID Buzz, actually shared this same platform.
Even though the plastic housings of the lights are shaped differently.
And that's exactly the point, right? Okay. So the insides are this like Lego block style. The housing is then different to fit each car. So for example, in the ID.3, the front light is a little bit narrower.
And they will also have like a different shaped reflector and things like that, I would imagine. So we'll see all those in just a minute. Okay.
Totally. All right, so let's go into the first one, which is the parking light. So the parking lights is those eyebrows that are along the lens, plus also the eyeball inside of the headlight is illuminated. So,
yeah, those are those kind of eyebrows you're talking about.
Exactly.
And this is a light pipe, right? Is that what you?
That is exactly. So I'm so amazed how much tech is there, because there is a light pipe right here right behind this.
Yeah. So this is a piece of plastic where you shine the light in
Piece of
one
plastic.
end,
Yes.
probably acrylic, right? And they're shining the light in
Yes.
one end,
One end. Yes.
right there. Okay. And then it just causes the light to illuminate along the edges, along the
Exactly.
entire length of the light pipe.
Yes.
And they're both the
And
same for the bottom and the top, or
yes,
similar?
they are similar. So you see that as I shine
Yeah.
my light bulb in there, it kind of turns on and off. And then plus in the American ones, there's this side marker that is yellow, and that has its own pipe, small pipe as well. Only if, oh, there we go. Right
There
now
it
I'm
is.
shining into that pipe, and now it shines. And of course, there is a yellow light shining into this.
Yeah.
On
So the LED itself is yellow rather than the plastic
that
being
is
yellow
correct.
to make it. Okay.
Yes. That's really good point, actually, Wes. Yes, that's very good point. And what is also what I found is quite impressive, as this light pipe is sitting in silver housing. There's a silver paint in this part, and so that adds with the reflection. That helps with the reflection. Plus,
Okay.
there is also
A diffuser.
diffuser that
Okay.
helps diffuse the light. And so what is impressive, I just wouldn't believe that it's impressive to have one light source on just one side, and the entire diffuser and the light pipe is built so that you see that the light spreads very evenly. That
Yeah.
is super impressive.
It really is. I would not have thought that. I would have thought they had a row of LEDs all along the top and the bottom. And
Exactly.
this is just a really great way to use resources.
Exactly. And so what also this unfortunately also confirms one hypothesis, that is not possible to add functionality where you would have cascading turn lights, right? Because cascading turn lights
Oh,
would
I see.
require having multiple light
Individual
sources
LED, yeah.
along the width of the
Right.
light.
So because it's a pipe that comes all the way from a source at the edge, it's either going to be on or it's going to be off.
Golf.
And
Exactly.
There's no.
That's it.
Okay.
That's it. Yeah. And you might be wondering what powers this light pipe. And it is so impressive that these small LEDs, so there's a combination of LEDs. There are this like X pattern, these 5. These are for turn lights, and then these 3 are for daylight running light. Here's a small one for the US version for the this is just the US marker light. And so in theory, this board is specific for US only, because and if you're driving ID.4 and ID.5 in Europe, let us know. But here in the US, on the Matrix headlight, we have the turn light is actually both of the eyebrows, the top and the bottom of the eyebrow.
Okay.
And so this is what shines through, and you can see this giant piece, which is a heatsink. And that's of course what you need to be very careful when you're when you want to keep your LEDs long lasting, that you have to extract all the heat as quickly as possible. And yes, they have some circuits here where they can detect the temperature, so that they're definitely controlling the temperature on top of everything. So that was the eyebrow of the headlight. Okay. That serves both as a daylight running light or daytime running light and a turn light.
And they use the different LEDs to make them amber when they're turn light.
That is correct.
Okay,
Yeah. They will turn off the white if you engage the blinker, and turn on the amber turn indicator. To the next part, which is maybe more exciting, that's where the eyeball that is inside of the housing comes to play. So let me switch the cameras here.
Okay.
And there is this silver cover on the top. So when you look through into your headlight, this is what you would see. But we have, of course, dissected this. So I'll just remove the top portion. And then there is, and I'll also remove this bigger part, because all this is just to make the eyeball illuminated, right? That's what adds the style to the eyeball. And you see that when I open this, when I remove this, there is another light pipe here, or another light cable that diffuses all the light or scatters all the light from those LEDs, then the LEDs are right here. So
There
you
they are.
have, yeah,
Along
there
the
they
very
are. I
edge.
need to take my glasses so I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 on one side, and I'm assuming the same 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 on the other side. So it's 14 in total, and these two boards are kind of cross-connected by this wire.
Okay.
And then it actually shines through this spot, this piece that is relatively complex because there are some more elements, some more plastic elements here to diffuse the light.
All of this along the side is just for being seen. It's just for the daytime
Yes,
running light. So you've got
exactly.
those LEDs, you've got the
Exactly.
diffusers you showed me, light
Yep.
pipe
Yep.
and diffuser built into one.
Yes.
And then the
Yes.
little diamond pattern on the eyeball looking thing is just to make it look cool.
Exactly. This is just the coolness. I agree with you. Like, technically, this would not have to be there. This is
Right.
just for the coolness factor.
Yeah.
And so I think they went like long ways for the coolness factor.
Well, and it worked, I think.
But I agree with you. And this is the core of the headlight.
Okay.
You see the
lens
here.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And then this is the LED unit. We'll talk about that in a moment. But this also swivels.
Okay.
You see that this moves. So inside of the light, this is the swiveling motor here on the bottom.
Okay.
So this unit is the motor that then swivels the entire lens.
And that's so that you can go around curves.
Yeah. So if you turn your steering wheel, you see that the light the eyeball is turning, and that's exactly this bottom piece that takes care of that.
Okay.
But that's not all. There is one more motor that is attached to this slot right here that takes care of the up and down. So it takes care of the leveling, and if you enable some of the fancy animations, this, for example, when you lock the car, it dips the lights, and that's exactly this motor that takes care of that feature.
By just pushing that little piston in and out, I imagine.
Okay. Precisely. So it just does like this motion.
Okay.
Up and down motion. Okay, so now the fun part. Now when we...
So what you just took away is the swivel portion and the lens.
And the lens. Yeah.
Okay. And we're left in your right hand there with, I can see the diffusers there for a row of LEDs on the top.
That is correct, yes. So these are additional lenses for the low beam light. There's 7 LEDs right behind here, right?
Okay. And if you took that piece off, that's 3 torque screws. We would see individual LEDs that look just like all the other LEDs.
Exactly. And we'll talk about them in the high beam because we are not yet finished, because you're seeing that there is a cluster of LEDs on the top, but there's some cluster here. But these serve for the metric functionality, also the high beam. So
those little tiny LEDs are the high beams on the bottom?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, these are the high beams.
And I'm seeing like an acrylic light, or not a light pipe, but I guess a diffuser in front of those.
Yeah, diffuser in there. Yeah, as well. Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll talk about those. And what is funny is that it says SAE. So I'm guessing that this component might be different for the Euro headlights. So this may be a different component, and potentially even this lens for the low beams may be a physically different component, depending on where the car is destined to be driving.
I kind of am impressed, Jan, that they are able to get, when you told me that tiny row at the bottom is the high beams, how are they getting so much light, so many lumens out of such tiny LEDs?
I know. That's crazy, isn't it?
I guess
I feel that, heat management, that's for sure. And maybe when you say heat management, we didn't talk about the fan here, right? Because there is a fan at the back, and look at all these fins, because again, they need to extract all the heat from both of these rows of LEDs as quickly as possible. Here are the poor weather lights, and the poor weather lights, they are also very prominent from the outside.
Looking at it from the side, seeing it shine here, because it's shining toward the side at an angle, 45-degree angle, to illuminate the sides for poor weather.
Exactly.
Okay, I see.
Yes. So I'll just put them here on the bench for us. So you see this part you see from the outside of the car, And what you don't see, of course, is that there is a light source that is sitting on top of this,
Yeah.
like that.
Once again,
right?
with another heat sink. Yeah. Okay.
So this is a giant heatsink, and here is an interesting component. So these are like 3 LEDs that are part of one physical assembly.
Okay. Interesting.
And again,
And there's hardly
sitting,
any electronics. It's just a connector and
yeah, and I think my hunch is that this is for reading thermals, right? Because they want to make sure that they throttle this based on temperature, so that it
okay.
doesn't blow. So yeah, there's hardly any electronics because everything is interconnected through the internal harness that we've seen on the beginning inside of
Okay.
the reflector. And this is actually a fun technology because this technology dates to the very early headlights. What I'm talking about reflector headlights, right? There are 2 types, projector and reflector. So the reflector is like literally a mirror that is reflecting the light that shines there from the top. So if I would say take my torch, you see it's kind of projecting some pattern on the pavement, or in this case, right in the front of the car, right? So that's maybe why they went with this technology, because they can disperse the light into very wide angle right in the front of the car.
Okay. But that reflector does not move, right? That's
Correct.
positioned
Yes,
just
you're spot on. Yes. The high beams, you see that there are 2 light sources. So we'll get to the eyeball in a minute. That's the outer light source. But let's take a look at the inner source
Okay.
of the light. And it's this beautiful component. It again shows the LED technology in a very detail here. And what you see is that there are 3 LEDs that I'll show you in a minute, and there is a set of 3 lenses. And these lenses, the idea is that this additional high beam light will project very far in the distance. So these are projecting very narrow angle lights. And the way it works here is that you see 1, 2, 3. And it seems like that there might be some spots for 2 more, but who knows?
Those are just solder pads. Okay.
Those are solder pads. And again, as those other boards, the back of it is aluminum, and this is again to extract the heat as quickly as possible. And yes, this was screwed on into the heatsink that I have removed, and I'm not showing here.
Now, with matrix, would that turn this part of the high beam off as well?
No. So
okay.
that's so okay. So then in the full high beam situation that is here in the US by default on these headlights, these turn on as soon as you engage the high beam.
Okay.
So these 3 will turn on. And at the same time, there is a row of 11 LEDs right here on the bottom. So this entire thing is from the eyeball.
From the
right?
eyeball.
From
Okay.
the eyeball that is shining through the lens, you'll see another 11 LEDs here. And so I kind of like, when I disassembled it, I literally expected a matrix of like maybe like 3 by 3 or 4 by 4
rows. Yeah, sure.
Exactly. But it's I think it's actually very smart. So again, these are the low beams and these are the high beams.
And
but
we're looking at it. The low beams are on top, but they're focused downward.
That is correct.
They're pointing
they're
downward.
Focused downward. Yes, because then it goes, of course, through a lens.
Okay.
And the lens potentially like flips the world around you, right? So because when you're looking at it through the lens, I probably won't be able to project this, but maybe if I'll try to do like thumb up, and it's far enough, it would turn it upside down.
Okay, I see.
So this is the metrics magic, and maybe let's go back into the slides here to see how it actually works.
Interesting. Okay.
So normally, when you have your driving lights, you have these low beam LEDs are on. These are the top ones with that lens. And when you engage high beam, it also turns these 11 segments down below, in addition to those 3. But if there is a car ahead of you, what the electronics literally does, it knows in which segments the car is and turns off those corresponding 3 segments as depicted here on the slide.
Wow. Okay, that's cool.
And then if there is an oncoming traffic, it does the same thing to the oncoming traffic, not to dazzle the oncoming car.
Yeah, for that maybe one LED, maybe two, maybe three, depending on how far away the car is.
Yes.
It's going to do that. Well,
and typically this is dynamic, right? Because as you drive, the oncoming car moves in the perspective relative to your car, and so you literally see those strips kind of like. But if
so maybe on the right hand is those three that you got blacked out, but maybe as you turn around a curve, the one to the right turns off and the one to the left turns on. I see. Okay,
exactly.
All right. And to be clear, we currently do not have this. Does not do this in the U.S. It would just automatically turn off all 11 of those blue high beam LEDs.
Correct. Okay. Yes. So this is only in Europe, or in the US if you activate that special function that is not doable at the dealer.
Okay. So to recap here, we've got 4 separate light sources inside the headlight assembly. You've got let's go from left to right. First of all, at the top left, that is the light source that shines into the light pipes from the edge of the car, that shines in from the outside edge. Is that right?
From the outside edge.
From the outside edge, and that illuminates the eyebrows up top and bottom.
And also takes care of turn lights. So it uses the white ones for the daytime running lights for the top and bottom. These two and these three.
And it uses the amber ones that are in the same location on the same light pipes for signal indicators, and then the marker light.
Yeah,
right.
Totally.
So that's one light source from the edge, and then we have a second light source on the bottom there. Your bottom one here is that's the source for the poor weather lights.
The lights
that are on the medial part of the car. So the inside part of the headlight shining outward toward the edge of your car at approximately 30 or 45 degree angle. So that shines into the reflector so that you can see in poor weather.
Yeah.
Okay. That's the reflector assembly. Okay.
Yeah.
And then we have up at the top right, this is, you said, a high beam lens, 3 LEDs shining into lenses that are focused high beams. And those are always on when the high beams are on, but not when the low beams are on, correct?
That is correct. Yeah.
Okay. And then finally, we have in your left hand there, we have the eyeball assembly, where we can see at the top this series of 7 LEDs shining through those. I guess those are more lenses than diffusers.
Those are lenses. Yeah.
And those would always be on when your headlights are on, not with daytime running lights,
but with
low beams. And then along the bottom, you can see the 11 high beam indicators, which in the North American market are either all on when your high beams are on. They'll turn them all off automatically, or you can turn them off manually. But they can also individually turn on and off with matrix headlights. So really 5 different sources, but 4 different assemblies that have lighting on them. And in addition to all that, you've got the motors. You've got the So this is the motor where that round.
So this is one motor.
That round piston pushes in and out to cause the whole eyeball assembly to look up or down.
Yeah. So this is the eyeball assembly, and so this motor pushes it up and down. So this rod screws up and down, and so it moves, slides in here, and it just moves this up and down.
Okay. Right. And then that frame assembly around it rotates on its axis.
Yes.
So you can see as you're going around a curve. It's really just impressive engineering. But up and down and left and right, and this illuminating specific areas in front of you based on what it's seeing is just incredible.
It's incredible. I totally agree.
It helps you appreciate why they're so expensive.
But I think they're definitely worth it. So if you want to learn more, there are 3 great self-study programs from VW where you can find a little bit more details. The one for the ID Buzz has way more details, and it seems like the supplier for the ID Buzz headlight is a little different than the supplier for this one. So the metrics module looks a tiny bit different, but it's worth checking if you're really interested. I really appreciate the high tech, and this technology has evolved in the past 10, 15 years, because I remember my 2005 Jetta had 0 LEDs on the outside.
This was really cool, Jan. Thanks for taking that headlight apart for all of our benefit.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I had fun as well, so I'm glad this was helpful. Thank you again. Have a great rest of your day, and please subscribe. Bye.
Bye.